Pakistani in name, but Indian in taste. The magic of three brothers who built a 2,800 crore business from a 10 bottle. Lahori Zeera. It is a hot summer afternoon. There is a small roadside dhaba, and outside it stands a fridge filled with cold water and cold drinks. Someone is asking for Coca-Cola, someone for Sprite, someone for soda. But in that same crowd, a boy opens the fridge and his eyes stop on a different bottle. The mind pauses the moment it hears the name. Lahori Zeera. For a moment, the question comes up. What exactly is this? The name carries the echo of a border, but the taste carries the fragrance of one's own home and courtyard. The fear is this: in such a massive beverage market, where foreign companies have ruled for decades, can a Desi brand really create its own space? And the curiosity is this: how did three cousins take the tangy taste found on roadside stalls, bottle it up, and build a business whose valuation reached 2,800 crore? According to financial reporting in 2026, Lahori Zeera recorded revenue of 540 crore in 2025. This is not just the story of one drink. It is the story of a gap that even the biggest brands failed to notice for years. India's soft drinks market is huge, but for a long time, organized cold beverage shelves were dominated by cola and lemon lime drinks. On the other side, real Indian taste remained alive on roadside stalls, in home kitchens, on small carts, and in summer memories. Shikanji, jeera water, banta with black salt, raw mango panna, the sweet-sour taste of tamarind. Lahori Zeera did not create a new flavor. It translated an old flavor into the language of modern retail. That was its biggest move. It turned nostalgia into a product and presented Desi not as a local substitute, but as a main choice. The company's own branding also presents it with a Desi lineup and a chat pata flavor positioning. Lahori Zeera began in 2017. It was launched under Archian Foods by three cousins, Saurabh Munjal, Saurabh Bhutna, and Nikhil Doda. Many media reports and brand material say the same thing. The founders came from a Punjab background, grew up together, and dreamed of doing something of their own in the food and beverage category. The beginning did not come from any massive corporate plan. The story began with kitchen-level experimentation, when an attempt was made to create a drink with cumin, black salt, lemony tang, and an Indian masala profile that could still give the same feel even after being bottled as the taste you get from roadside drinks. That very idea later became the flagship product. If you remember summer memories in North India, especially in Punjab, Haryana, the Delhi belt, or small towns, you will find that jeera is not just a spice, but also a beverage memory. Drinking goli soda or banta with black salt and cumin was never anything uncommon. The founders saw this familiar taste profile as an opportunity. There were many fizzy drinks in the market, but organized shelves did not show many carbonated drinks with Indian kitchen notes. This was the place where they understood that people wanted not just cold, but also their own taste. That is why Lahori Zeera's product proposition was very clever. It was neither a pure traditional sharbat nor a typical cola. It became that bridge between both worlds where there was fizz, but also Desi masala memory. The most interesting thing about this brand is its name. The moment people hear the word Lahori, images of Lahore, Punjab, partition memory, old culture, bazaar food, and border nostalgia arise in many minds. But the founders of the drink used this name not in any political framing, but in cultural resonance. The shared food memory, language tonality, and culinary references of Lahore and Indian Punjab already existed in public imagination. The word jeera itself is part of the Indian kitchen. Together, the two words create a name that feels both different and familiar. That is the power of branding. The moment you hear the name, curiosity is born, and the moment you take a sip, a sense of belonging arrives. Perhaps that is why this brand stood out on the shelf both visually and mentally. Its public storytelling also uses language like Apna Desi Thanda. But just a good name and an interesting taste do not make a brand successful. The real difference comes from execution. The most powerful part of Lahori Zeera's early strategy was its 10 price point. Keeping the 160 milliliters bottle at 10 was not just a pricing decision, it was a mass market philosophy. According to Economic Times and other reports, the founders very consciously chose entry-level pricing so that the product would become accessible, not aspirational. In a price-sensitive market like India, this was a huge decision. Becoming a premium brand may be easier, but disrupting a category at 10 is difficult, because then distribution, margin, manufacturing efficiency, and offtake all have to be balanced together. This 10 strategy became the strongest axis of Lahori's growth engine. The beginning was on a small scale. According to media features, the founders bought old machines, repaired them, worked again and again on formulations, and got taste testing done at the local level. They took feedback from shopkeepers, auto drivers, students, and general trade buyers. The point was not just to make a drink, it was to find the right balance. If the fizz became too much, the traditional feel could get lost, and if the masala profile became too dominant, repeat consumption could become difficult. So the bottle that looks simple to people today had a lot of trial and error behind it. This is the real startup reality. The final product looks polished on the shelf, but behind it are countless imperfect experiments. Lahori Zeera made one more very smart decision. It did not run after massive advertising spends from the beginning. In many reports, the founders said they focused more on distribution and retailer relationships in the early years. This is also the core truth of the beverage business. No matter how good a drink is, if it does not reach the right shop, at the right temperature, in the right city, at the right time, then it does not become a brand. According to Fortune India's report, by 2025, the company had built a network of more than 2,000 distributors and reached 8 lakh retail outlets. That is why the brand slowly built a strong grip in small towns, highways, dabas, kirana stores, and general trade. And this is also where the biggest business lesson of this story is hidden. The fight against giants like Coca-Cola and PepsiCo is less about taste and more about shelf space and supply chain. Big brands have budgets, cold chains, advertising muscle, and deep retailer relationships. In such a situation, the very survival of a new Desi beverage brand is difficult. Lahori Zeera did not fight this battle by saying we are also a cola. It said, we are what cola cannot give. In other words, it carved out its own lane in the category through native taste anchors like Jeera, Kala Namak, Nimbu, Shikanji, Kacha Aam, and Imli Banta. This was not imitation, it was differentiation. That is why today its lineup includes variants like Lahori Nimbu, Lahori Shikanj, Lahori Kacha Aam, and Lahori Imli Banta. The brand's growth numbers make the story even stronger. According to Entracker's financial reporting, the company's revenue was 312 crore in 2024, which rose 73% to 540 crore in 2025. In other words, a brand that began with a 10 bottle came within just a few years to be counted among India's fastest growing beverage businesses. Such growth numbers do not come from hype alone. Behind them are product market fit, repeat consumption, and distribution depth. Seasonality was also one factor behind this growth, but not the only one. Summer beverage brands often sell in summer and struggle the rest of the year. That was Lahori Zeera's challenge too. Would it remain just a seasonal thirst quencher, or could it become a habit-forming brand? Available interviews and business features suggest the company understood this question. That is why it moved beyond dependence on a single SKU, built a portfolio, worked on family packs, and expanded into new channels like modern trade, QSR chains, railways, and quick commerce. In other words, this brand began with a roadside memory and moved toward organized FMCG scale. Not every regional product manages that transition. Another interesting part of the company's scale is its production challenge. In CapTable's 2026 reporting, co-founder Saurabh Munjal was quoted as saying that 2025 revenue was around 775 crore, and that this was linked not to lack of demand, but also to limits in production capacity. He said the question was not, how much can we sell, but how much can we make? This line says a lot. Many consumer brands market for demand. Here, the brand had reached a stage where demand already existed and manufacturing had become the bottleneck. This problem sounds positive, but for a scaling business, it is equally a major test. Because if demand exists and supply lags behind, another player can capture that market share just as quickly. In the beginning, the team was small. According to 30 States, Fortune India, and other business features, the company began with a team of about 20 people and later reached more than 1,800 employees and contractual workers. That is the scale at which a beverage business turns from a startup into an enterprise. At that point, it stops being just the founder's idea. It becomes a game of procurement, bottling, quality control, logistics, retail placement, hiring, sales execution, and working capital discipline. As simple as a bottle of drink looks on the shelf, its back end is just as complex, especially when you are surviving on margins in a low-ticket product. The cultural timing of this brand also worked in its favor. Over the past few years, Desi tastes have started being seen with new confidence in India. People have begun adopting local flavors not as compulsion, but as preference. This trend has shown up in food startups, packaged snacks, regional sweets, millet products, pickles, and native beverages. Lahori Zeera caught this cultural wave at exactly the right time. It made consumers feel that Desi taste is not outdated. It can also be cool. The bottle hygiene was modern, the branding was fresh, but the taste memory was familiar. That is the combination that creates mass affection, when the product feels both new and your own. Even so, this story should not be seen only as romance. The road ahead is not easy. Competition in the beverage market is now getting sharper. Big players can start price wars, regional brands can bring local taste imitations, and distribution expansion is always expensive. The hardest thing in the low-price FMCG game is profitable scale. Entracker's 2025 report says that despite revenue rising rapidly, profit remained broadly flat because costs also rose significantly. That means one thing clearly: growth is impressive, but to make this growth sustainable in the long run, operational discipline will remain critical. That is where the next few years will really test this brand. Still, when you look back at the whole journey, the story feels very large. Three cousins, Punjab memories, kitchen level formulation, old machines, a 10 bottle, trials at local shops, packaging Desi taste, and then a business worth hundreds of crores. This story shows that in India, business opportunities are not always hidden only in shiny future categories. Many times, they are hidden in our old habits, childhood tastes, and ignored everyday culture. The only difference is who recognizes them, who bottles them, and who has the courage to take them to lakhs of people. That is the real magic of Lahori Zeera's story. The name may be Lahori, but the victory this brand achieved tastes completely Indian. If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.